Our friends and residents of Marine Parade, it's always a great pleasure to see so many of you here joining us on this National Day dinner. Yesterday we had, or the day before, 9th of August, we had a very great National Day parade. But looking ahead, I believe that Singapore is at a crossroads, politically, economically, and socially. Which road we choose will determine our collective future. So tonight I want to highlight some challenging trends which we must overcome. Many of you would have remembered the old cowboy classic, the good, the bad, and the ugly. I shall classify the challenges according to these three categories: good, bad, and ugly. Let me deal first with the bad category. Top on the list will be the uncertain external economic environment. Europe is in financial and economic troubles. It will take some time to fix them. The US has high unemployment and growing budget deficit. But the Democrats and the Republicans cannot agree on how to solve them. Japan, too, has a huge budget deficit. And the competitive domestic politics constrains the government from taking decisive action to turn things around. China and India, for different reasons, are also growing more slowly. So all this means slower growth for the Singapore economy. But even then, we will still need to rely on foreign labor. So this is another bad challenge, our continued reliance on immigrants and foreign labor. Other bad trends include the widening income gap and the divide between native Singaporeans and new citizens. I shall not list all the factors and challenges under the bad category. You can think of for yourself, but those were some of the more important ones. So now let me move on to the ugly category. By ugly, I mean problems which could undermine our prosperity and strength, but which cannot be easily resolved. In other words, intractable problems. In my view, our aging population is the most severe problem. Today, we have about 350,000 Singaporeans aged 65 and above. In only 18 years' time, when Singapore celebrates its 65th birthday, this will balloon to a mind-boggling 900,000. But at least we are more fortunate than China. China is also aging rapidly because of its one-child policy. And China will get old before it becomes rich. Whereas in Singapore, we have gotten rich before we become old. An aging population also means an aging workforce. Our median age of the workforce is 42, as compared with 25 for Vietnam and India. So we will find it more difficult to compete against countries with younger workforces. Next, we are not producing enough babies. Our very low birth rates clearly fall into the ugly category of challenges. How to solve this? If you have any good ideas, give them to the Prime Minister's office. If they work, you may get a public service medal. A third ugly challenge is the growing trend of putting individual interests before those of the nation and society. There are many recent anecdotes of ungracious behavior towards the old and the weak, increasing resentment against foreigners, and NIMBY, not in my backyard, incidents. In the past, we made sacrifices together to solve problems. Now increasingly we appear to think more and more of ourselves first. The internet and a more open political climate have combined to bring about a more vibrant society. This is the positive side. But there's also the ugly side, which we must guard against. This is the unrestrained tendency of a minority to recklessly tear down the institutions and pillars of society which we have painstakingly built up over the years. Such behavior damages the fabric of our society. Fortunately, we have many good qualities to allow us to fight off the bad and ugly challenges. First is our highly educated population. We are spending more on education. Better schools, smaller classes, more universities, and more opportunities for polytechnic students to go to universities. And now, I think very importantly, I can see that the government is paying more attention to preschool education for all Singaporeans. Second, our economy is being continuously upgraded to meet the challenging global environment and the aspirations of a better educated workforce. Even with an older workforce, we can remain competitive if we continue to upgrade our productivity and be more innovative and creative. Third, our home Singapore will get even better. We will have more HDB homes, faster internet access, more park connectors, green space, and gardens. Singapore will be a top quality home for all of us. Fourth, we have the financial resources to remove the fears of rising medical costs for the poor and middle income groups. As I mentioned just now, come 2030, there will be nearly 1 million older Singaporeans. So the fear of not having enough resources for our own medical needs will be a very, very great one. We have the resources. What we need are practical ideas and programs to strengthen the support system without bankrupting the country or passing the burden to our children. So again here we're looking for ideas on how to construct this system. Fifth, the Singaporean spirit remains strong. We saw that at the National Day Parade. I believe that if we are faced with a crisis, Singaporeans will rally together, like we did during SARS and the 1997 Asian financial crisis. The spirit of volunteerism also remains healthy. In the constituency, the grassroots leaders, the many residents of volunteer to make the whole community better. The spirit remains very strong. And corporations and individuals contribute generously to support education and help others who are less fortunate. Can we build on our good points to defeat the bad and the ugly challenges? The answer must surely be yes. The government has introduced many good programs to help the people, like ComCare, Workfare, GST rebate, US vouchers, or USAVE. It is also working hard to address other issues of concern, such as public transport, housing, and immigration. But the government will need to join the dots so that the people can see that the many government initiatives are not just reactive measures, but part of a larger holistic vision to look after them and improve their lives. The government also needs to capture the aspirations of the people, reassure them that Singapore is still a land of opportunity for Singaporeans, and allay their anxieties and fears about political stability, security, and cost of living. Prime Minister Lee Hsien Loong has formed a committee of younger ministers under Heng Swee Keat to take a fresh look at what we are doing and forge consensus on a way forward. I welcome this and I support this initiative. But this exercise is not just about coming up with new policies and programs. It is also about having a national conversation on our common future, our vision for Singapore, defeating the bad and ugly challenges, and the road we wish to travel together to reach our destination. This should not be a top-down exercise. It should be a two-way conversation, a dialogue, not a monologue. Singaporeans, whatever their Asian views, have a stake in this conversation to forge a national consensus on our collective future. You can contribute in many ways by participating in dialogue sessions with ministers and MPs or writing to them. I urge those of you who feel passionately about where Singapore should be heading to research the issues, find out the facts, and then invite your MPs and the ministers to exchange views in a frank and constructive dialogue. The more such conversations are held, the better our chances of developing a common understanding of our bad and ugly challenges, of staying united and overcoming them with our good qualities. I've been having regular dialogues with Marine Parade residents. The search for a new national consensus on a collective future will be the focus of my conversations with residents in the next few months. And I would also ask my colleagues in the GRC to do likewise. Together, we will triumph over the bad and ugly. So have a good National Day.